Folk Racing PS4. This is race 2 of the Corvette at Imola, round 34 of the championship. You see on the screen the results of race 1, where Kev Allen was a dominant winner, followed by an excellent Phil and Andy Booth in third. Qualifying for the second race saw Kev Allen again on pole position, followed by Simon Allen and Andy Booth. Diogo Silva is in fourth. Phil, Jambo and Scott Daveley make up the rest of the field. Surprisingly low qualifying for Phil. He's hoping that the race will go a little bit better, as we now see. Wait for the green lights. Excellent getaway for Simon Allen this time. Simon Allen has actually done a very good getaway. Kev Allen in second, and here comes Diogo Silva on the outside. Diogo Silva on the outside, and I believe that's Jambo in there in third place. First corner, will we see any carnage? No, surprisingly, we don't see any carnage. That's not Jambo, that's Kev Allen, by the way, in third place. Because in second has gone Andy Booth. Kev Allen is in third, Diogo Silva is in fourth, and Phil is in fifth. So there was a bit of argy-bargy in there in the first corner, but pretty much everyone has kept the same position as in qualifying, except for Kev Allen, who has lost a position to Andy Booth, and Diogo Silva running wide there. Diogo Silva running wide on the first lap at Tosa corner. He is being challenged by Phil. Phil has made a pretty good start and is already trying to recover fourth place from Diogo Silva, as we see now Kev Allen starting to challenge for second place. Andy Booth is going to try to hold to that second place as long as he can. Here comes now Kev Allen on the outside at Variante Alta. It's not a very obvious overtaking point, but has he made it work? No. Andy Booth keeps the inside line, and both of them go cleanly through the chicane. Kev Allen tries to make a better exit now into the descent towards Rivazza. Let's see if he can make a move. He will be concerned to spend too much time behind Andy, because Simon Allen for once has actually managed to make a good start and actually not hit or be hit by anyone, which is quite surprising, and he's already opened up quite a large lead of almost 3 seconds there, as we now see Kev Allen on the outside of Andy Booth going into Tamburello for the first time. Not the first time, the second time, I apologize. Will we see any action between these two? Kev Allen is now on the outside. Will he manage to make a move? Yes, you know, they touch, and Kev Allen, oh dear, and Diogo Silva has hit Kev really hard and then spun. Dramatic second lap here at Imola. We had battle for second place. Kev Allen on the outside. He thought he had the move done, but realistically, Andy was just running the correct line there, and Kev wasn't completely in front of Andy, so Andy was completely entitled to actually take the corner, as we now see Kev Allen trying to make a move on Jambo, who's got up to third. Andy Booth seems to me was perfectly entitled to defending his position there, and Kev wasn't completely ahead of Andy, and then just took the corner like as if no one was there. They both ended up spinning, and Diogo Silva has hit Kev quite hard and then spun himself. So he was in fourth, and he's now in sixth place, which is not the greatest of starts for Diogo again. So he's been slightly unlucky with this combo here today. Scott Daveley has made a cautious start. He's in seventh. Phil is now up to fifth, and of course Jambo and Andy Booth are the biggest beneficiaries from this collision, with Andy managing to keep his second place and Jambo up to third, but for how much longer? Because the other yellow Corvette is coming at him and he's trying the same move. Kev Allen is trying the same move as in the last lap with Andy Booth. He's trying the outside of turn one there at Tamburello, and let's see if this works out any differently from the last lap. He's again trying to do the same, and almost a replay of the last lap. That was a daredevil move by Kev Allen, but he had to do it because he couldn't be stuck behind Jambo for much longer. He's now in pursuit of Andy Booth again. So Andy Booth second, Kev Allen third, Jambo now dropping down to fourth, with Phil in fifth place as we follow our race leader Simon Allen in that number 11 white Corvette, who's now doing in the second race pretty much what Kev did on the first, which is pretty much the only driver that hasn't been involved in some sort of shenanigans or collisions or other sorts of incidents with other drivers. He's done a really good job just getting away cleanly and just minding his own business and really opening up a very commanding lead of 7.3 seconds, make it 7.7 now, to Andy Booth. Kev Allen, who had great pace on race 1, continues to be stuck behind other drivers. He just managed to overtake Jambo, but he's continues to be stuck behind Andy Booth. He's now a couple of seconds, but gaining some ground there as Simon Allen now completes lap 3, and he really could do with the victory here. He really needs the victory to really relaunch a challenge for this championship that Kev Allen seems to be now completely under control. Diogo Silva following here on the start-finish line. He dropped to 6th after quite a good start. Diogo has not managed to gain a lot of ground. In fact, he hasn't gained any ground whatsoever to Phil. He's 6 seconds behind, more or less. Phil is now closer to Jambo, so I think the most interesting on-track battles are Kev Allen chasing Andy Booth for 2nd and Phil chasing Jambo for 4th. They both involve yellow Corvettes, so let's see how both battles will evolve, as in one of them the yellow Corvette is the challenger and in the other one the yellow Corvette is the challenged, so to speak, as Kev Allen continues to try to gain ground on Andy Booth, and these two got together a couple of laps ago, but Kev seems definitely to be the quickest of the two, because he was 2 seconds behind just I think a lap ago really, and I'm not sure if Andy made some mistake or if he has a problem with his car, but Kev is coming after him, and now we are in the Rivazza corner, a very heavy braking point, very easy to destabilize the car under braking, as Kev Allen now really aggressive there in the second part of the Rivazza, trying a little bit of a shortcut. I wonder if he kept the car completely within track limits, or if some penalties are going to be given here. And actually this is absolutely the right time for me to complain to the developers of Project Cars 2, not only for putting together a pretty crap version of the game in Project Cars 3, but also for, during these race replays, you don't show the penalties on the standings, and that's really annoying, because now Kev Allen is really trying to make some ground. The little switcheroo there on the outside and then on the inside of Tosa, and I think he's got the job done. Yes, he has. He's got the job done, or is he? No, he's not. Andy Booth came back at him quite nicely there at the exit of Tosa. Now into Piratella, which is not really a very obvious overtaking point. Andy Booth gives him space, runs slightly wide, and Kev Allen is through. Kev Allen is through into second place. So now we have the Allens at the front, which is quite a usual sight here at Old Fox Racing PS4. But for those of you who think that the Allens are always at the front, get these statistics, because I think they only have in 33 races 8 or so 1-2s. So it's not as common as you think that Simon Allen and Kev Allen finish in the first 2 positions, as they often make mistakes, or other drivers are quicker, and someone else finishes second. A few other drivers have quite a few second places, and Booth in particular. And now Phil he was behind Jambo. I think he was a little bit closer than he is now as he runs wide into the last corner. That wasn't quite the ideal line there, Phil, as he seems to be weaving a little bit as if he was trying to warm his tires, and I think they now on lap 6 they must be pretty warm already, so I wonder what is ground there with Phil as he continues to be in pursuit of Jumbo, and meanwhile Kev Allen has completely disappeared from Andy Booth's line of sight. And could we see a battle for the lead? Is that a little bit ambitious? We're almost at the midpoint of this race, 8 seconds difference between the two Allens. Andy Booth now stable in third. Jumbo is 4 seconds behind. Phil is 2 seconds behind Jumbo, but not really making any ground whatsoever. Diogo Silva has been within 5 seconds of Phil for the last couple of laps as well, and Scott Daveley continues to be 7th. And now this is Andy Booth trying the short way here, which is clearly a much quicker way of going around this corner. But I wonder what the race control is going to think about that, and I think he's slowing down for that reason. Andy Booth has concluded that maybe slowing down is better than gaining a penalty, although the first penalty here at Imola for track limits is only 1 second, and I'm pretty sure that Andy Booth has actually lost more than 1 second there, because Jumbo has managed to close in quite nicely, and whilst a few laps ago we saw a battle for second position, we are now seeing a battle for third position, as Jumbo now is very, very close to Andy Booth, and I wonder what he will be capable to do to challenge for a podium position. Phil is going to try to use this battle to get closer to both of them. So we have quite an interesting midfield battle here for the last position in the podium during the second half of this race, as we follow Jumbo on board through the Tosa corner. Slight mistake there at the exit, and he could have a better exit now going into the Piratella, which is again a very tricky corner here at Imola. And clearly it can be seen why some of the old folks really enjoy running GT cars here at Imola, because it's a constant challenge from the first corner to the last. You have to get the right amount of sliding, you have to be very precise with track limits, because they're very, very tight in this track. In some corners you can attack a lot, in some corners it pays off to be slightly more cautious and really not try too hard, and not try to not overdrive the car, and that's where you gain those precious tenths of a second that can make the difference between pole position and the midfield, because it's such a competitive league here at Old Fox Racing PS4. We are already on lap 8. Kev Allen has just, Simon Allen, I apologize, has just started it, as we see, well, for a moment there I thought it was Kev Allen that was leading, but he's only 6 seconds behind now, so he's gained a couple of seconds to Simon Allen. Simon starting to feel a little bit of pressure there, as we see a mistake by Andy Booth there in Tamburello. Mistake by Andy Booth, and Jumbo didn't quite get into a position to make a move there, because Andy defended quite nicely the inside line of that second part of the chicane. However, as I explained earlier, this is only helping out Phil, who is gaining ground on these two, and we now have a three-way battle for the last podium position, which is quite nicely. Or do we? Because Phil has made a mistake there at Tosa. Again, a difficult corner, because it's not your traditional hairpin, to the extent that you get there already at quite low speed, so you have to use that hairpin to really gain speed through the corner, because it's quite important that the exit is quite a long straight, which is also an ascending straight, so clearly it's a very, very critical corner. But if you overdrive it, you end up like Phil there, just running wide, running out of traction, and just losing more time. Here at the very end, Alta, let's look at the different lines, and everyone pretty much uses that green area of curb that you can use, as long as you keep some of your wheels inside the track. You won't get a warning from race control. Even if you do get a warning, you have some time to slow down, and sometimes it's possible to avoid a penalty, as Andy Booth continues to be in third, Jumbo in fourth, and Phil in fifth. And that's really the only major point of interest right now, as the other positions seem to be stable, with perhaps the possibility still of a battle for the lead. I don't know. Simon Allen now has 4.7 seconds. Kev is really closing in, but I don't think that Kev is going to have the time to reach the back of Simon Allen in the remaining 3 laps, let alone challenge and try to overtake Simon. So I think that Simon has a very good possibility of a victory here after 2 difficult weekends in Old Fox Racing PS4. We all want to see more of a battle at the lead of the championship, and Simon needs to get more consistent results in order for them to happen. Other battles in the championship are the battle for 3rd place. Andy Booth and Diogo Silva are the 2 main contenders there, with Andy Bramall, who's not scoring points today because he's away, clearly losing a bit more ground. And Andy Booth has finished the first race in 3rd, Diogo Silva in 5th, and here 3rd for Andy again. And Diogo is not doing well again. He's in 6th place. So Andy, who has, I believe, an 11-point gap before the start of this round, will have extended his lead as well. As we see now Phil making a move on Jambo. Both of them are weaving, trying to defend from each other, but Phil now seems to be able to have the pace to get the job done here, as he's trying now the inside of Tamburello. Will it work or not? We've seen contact, but oh, Phil running wide there into the grass. Not quite the way to overtake here at Tamburello in the grass, but really he's all over Jambo, and all of a sudden Jambo has lost some pace there, or Phil has found some boost button in his Corvette GTE, because he's really itchy there to make this move, and I'm not sure for how much longer Jambo is going to hold to that 4th place, really, because Phil is coming at him. Of course, excellent performance in the first race. Here we follow on board with Phil as he exits the Tosa corner into Piratella. He scored his first podium ever in this series in the first race. As we see now, Jambo has spun. Jambo ran wide at the Piratella. He then was on the inside of the corner, hit the barrier at the exit of Piratella, and then pirouetted in front of Phil, actually, who was quite lucky not to find himself involved in this incident. Anyway, Jambo has lost time. He's now in 6th place, with Diogo Silva making up a place, and obviously Phil now in 4th. So we've got and someone is in the gravel, and that's Kev Allen. Kev Allen is in the gravel. Major drama here at Imola, as Kev Allen has got the lead at the start of the 11th lap. Amazing developments here at Imola. Amazing developments, as Simon Allen, after developing such a commanding lead for the first 11 or first 10 laps, really, he has found himself off the track again, and that was at Tamburello. He then tried to control and lose as little time as possible by going as quickly as possible in the gravel, and that resulted in him spinning and losing yet more ground. And I'm sure Kev Allen has seen that and really said, thank you very much, I'll take that lead. After a poor start and having to recover, after then colliding with Andy Booth at Tamburello, it is at the same corner that Kev Allen finds himself retaking the lead, and now he's about to enter the last lap. So with Simon Allen more than 4 seconds behind, I don't think that we are going to see a different result here as we saw in the first race. In fact, Simon Allen is running second, and in fact it's the same positions, almost exactly the same positions as race 1, with the exception that Phil and Simon Allen have swapped places. Simon Allen finished the first race in fourth, he's now in second, and Phil is in fourth, and he finished, of course, this first race in an excellent second place. We can still see some action here at the back of the field with Scott Daveley, who has had quite a quiet race after such a strong performance on the first one. Unfortunately, the result seems to be similar, 7th place in both cases. And we talked to Scott before this race, and he was hoping that with the lower number of starters in this race, that it could be possible and likely that he could challenge for a top 5, and he certainly did that in race 1, but he seems to have lost a bit of momentum there for the second race, because he's now behind Jumbo, only 1 second, but we are at on the last lap already. Kev Allen has opened a lead of 5 seconds, so I think that's game over here for Simon Allen, and Kev can just cruise to the line into yet another victory, his 10th victory of the season. So now Kev Allen is not only the driver with the highest number of victories, he also has the highest number of second places, and of course that translates into a never extending lead of the championship into the last part of the Rivasa very cleanly. Kev Allen has done it again. He has won both races here at Imola. Well done to Kev. He has won race 2 as well. Simon Allen is still going to hold to second place, which is still better than race 1, but very disappointing considering that he led this race for 10 laps and really did not lead that last 2 laps that mattered. Andy Booth continues to be in 3rd place in the championship. With this 3rd place, he's opened a gap of yet another 5 points, I believe, since 15 and 10 for Diogo Silva. So he must have 21 points now advantage over Diogo for 3rd. Phil is 4th. Diogo finishing 5th, as I said. Jumbo and Scott Daveley are the closest battle, but Jumbo is going to just hold on to that 6th place after that spin at Piratella. So confirmation there of your result: Kev Allen, Simon Allen, and Andy Booth, with Phil, Diogo Silva, Jumbo and Scott Daveley completing the top 7. See you in the next race.